Hi, everyone. I just wanted to get on here and just have a little casual chat and talk to you about triggers. That's a word that I use often in my work with clients, but I really want to talk to you about what is a trigger? Why do we have them and how do we clear them? Because that's a huge part of this work. So you could imagine, I want to use this analogy that Jess Lively used. I love the way she described this. And so I often use this with my clients, and I'm going to explain it to you today. So a trigger is, imagine you are walking down the street in New York City and people are busy, they're rushing, they're bustling down the sidewalk, and people are bumping into you just here and there, but it doesn't seem to bother you. You notice it happening, but you're kind of on a track. You are focused on where you're going. You might even be bumping into a few people because the sidewalk is so crowded, but it doesn't have any emotional effect on you. There's no emotional charge behind getting bumped by a few people as you're walking. Now imagine that you have a gunshot wound in your shoulder. It's infected. You really need to see a doctor, but you're waiting to get in to see someone. And it feels like it's getting worse by the moment. And so you're walking down the sidewalk, the exact same thing is happening. But instead of it having no emotional charge, it is an incredible emotional reaction when someone bumps into your shoulder. Now, the action is exactly the same, right? What happens is exactly the same, but the reaction is tied to something deeper. So when you have a trigger, it's connected to the earlier emotion or the deep wound that is inside. So someone could say something and it could just set you off. Or like in traffic with roadway rage, someone could pull in front of you. And for one person, they notice, okay, that person swerved in front of me. It happened. I'm gonna slow down a little so that give them some space because they're obviously something's going on with them. I'm gonna give them a little space. But for someone who has a wound, the reaction is not just noticing. The reaction is emotionally charged. They're instantly angry. They're seeing red. They can't think straight. They go into flight or fight mode. Same with when you're walking down the street with that gunshot wound in your shoulder that's infected. A tiny little bump and boom, it's an emotional reaction through your entire body that you can't control. So that's how a trigger works. And that's something to become aware of. So the very first step is noticing triggers like, oh, wow, I really overreacted. Now that overreaction is valid, right? It's not that you shouldn't be reacting that way. It's that there's a wound there that's creating that reaction, that a different person experiencing the same thing wouldn't have that reaction. So it's the first step is just becoming aware of it. What are my triggers? What am I feeling when this mundane or simple thing happens in my life? Okay, so that's the first step. The second step is feeling into that feeling, becoming really aware of where it is in your body and giving yourself permission to fully feel that feeling out. So instead of getting frustrated at yourself and overwhelmed and trying to make that feeling stop, the step is to really fully feel into it. And in RTT, we do this by when you're under hypnosis, you're just going to be under a very light hypnosis, meaning all I want is your nervous system to be completely relaxed. Your nervous system is completely relaxed, and we feel that feeling. We go into your body, you feel where it is, you breathe into it, and you let it fully express itself, and then it releases. And this is something that you can't truly explain can't truly grasp it until you feel that release. But once it releases, then you can go even deeper. Okay, where is it now in your body? So this is a type of emotional release that I can guide you through. What happens if you don't do this release? Well, Marissa says that if we don't express emotions, if we hold them all in, if we suppress them into our body, eventually it makes our organs weep. Another way of saying that is it can create mental and physical illness. It can create these pounding headaches. It can create nausea that you feel. It can create, you know, all these different kinds of physical effects from holding in this trapped emotion. So by practicing this release, you can free yourself of all this emotional weight. And sometimes it's nice to have a guide to help you do that. So that's my work. But after you've worked with me for just a few sessions, you're going to understand how to do this yourself. So this isn't something that you have to have a practitioner to do every single time. This is, let me guide you and show you the steps, and then you are free to be doing this regularly on your own. So I just wanted to have a quick chat with you, and we will be discussing this more in the future, but this is just kind of a quick overview of how I see triggers and how to release them in your life.